Welcome back, everybody. If you're new, my name's Nicholas, and this is Investing Against the Grain. Today, I'm going to try to keep this episode quick and succinct because I have Game 4 of the Stanley Cup to get to. Now, in today's episode, we are going to talk about Reuters screwing up yet again, not once, but twice screwing up. Also, Tesla stock, hey, down $2 after the Fed spoke, after Jerome Powell said all the things he said today. Not too bad in the big scheme of things. But let's get into this. Let's talk about Reuters. Let's talk about how they keep screwing up over and over again, and why at this point, in my opinion, Tesla, someone needs to do something to go after Reuters or these media outlets that keep misreporting or trying to use clickbaity headlines to deceive other people. At some point, accountability has to happen, and maybe that's the whole point of this amazing high-power legal team that Elon Musk and Tesla are putting together. All right, before we get into it, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell. Let's get into it. So let's start off with this one first. Here we can see Tesla to suspend most production at Shanghai plant in the first 2 weeks of July to upgrade the site, Reuters. Again, just look at this title. It is so misleading and deceiving. And this is yet again, I almost want to give Reuters a benefit of the doubt and say, hey, maybe they're just getting things out there too fast before they actually do any due diligence. Maybe they're hearing something from someone and they're just rushing into this. So I think that it's a little premature for me to sit here and just assume that they're saying something that's incorrect. And I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. You know, again, I'm trying to be a little empathetic towards them. But the problem is this keeps happening over and over. So here you can see the headline, all right? Now, Gary Black put out the following. So this all came out from a leaked email, internal email from Shanghai. And so here we have Gary Black saying, translating the leaked email into English via Google says Tesla gig in Shanghai will be down for 3 days from July 1st to July 4th, not 2 weeks as Reuters headline implies. And if we look at this translation, we can see here that it says, Dear partners, in order to cooperate with the production, upgrade, and transformation of the super factory, the whole factory, including the workshop and office area, need to be powered off from July 1st to July 4th. The guidelines of attendance during a power outage are as follows. And it goes on to detail everything out here. But the point is, they are shutting down for 3 days. And why are they doing that? Well, once again, let's take a look at what Gary Black shared with us. And he kind of puts everything into perspective. Lost in the noise, whether Tesla, TSLA, Giga Shanghai is closed for 3 days or 14 days in July, output will rise by 29% from 17,000 per week to 22,000 vehicles per week. That's massive. 30% increase. All right, massive. After the upgrade. Will make up for lost output in just over 5 weeks, even if it's closed for 14 days. So in essentially a month and a week, even if they were shut down for all 14 days, they'll have already made up for it within that quarter, and they'll be exceeding it. But on top of that, the translation's incorrect by Reuters. It's only going to be closed down for 3 days. Call it a week. Maybe their timeline, things happen, right? Things slow up. Maybe it's a week. So what? They're increasing their capacity by 30%. Like, this is a good thing to happen. And this is normal. All right. Historically, at the beginning of quarters, this is when we see things becoming, factories shutting down so they can retool and get more efficient. So again, not a big deal. I think this is a big miss by Reuters. Now, once again, they messed up again. There's a part 3 interview released with Elon Musk. You can see it right here. Excellent interview. This, I think part 3 was the best one so far. This is with Kilowatts and Tesla owner Silicon Valley. And the reason I think this is so excellent is because they dive deep into a lot of the topics of FSD BETA that I tend to want to know, right? This was just a refreshing interview overall, because although the first part of the interview was kind of a lot of stuff we already knew. Sure, we heard some new stories, but essentially the history of Elon, Tesla, the drama behind all that. But episode 2 or part 2, we got more new details and more interesting questions. And then part 3, we got a lot better questions that we don't normally hear from traditional media, from Bloomberg, from whoever gets the opportunity to interview Elon. And I was happy that we got some real Tesla fans, some Tesla supporters, because they're actual questions that we want, and they're FSD beta testers as well. So I thought there was a lot of good context with regards to FSD beta. However, take a look at this. Once again, headline from Reuters. Musk says Tesla's new car factories losing billions of dollars. Of course, Reuters, once again, taking something completely out of context and using that for clickbait. Did Elon say this? Yes, he technically did. But again, taking it out of context. That's all they're doing. They're just trying to be the first ones out there with an article or a story. And this kind of stuff needs to stop. It's so disingenuous. And I'm starting to get onto Team Gary Black about having some kind of PR department to fact check other people, or at least have a blog posting that says, hey, not true. This is BS. Hell, you can hire someone from the Tesla community. They'll do it, right? But just to keep things honest and, be able to fight back against some of this stuff, because this is so out of context. So let's take a look. So you read the headline there. And by the way, that headline is coming from that interview, that part 3 interview we were just talking about. So this says, San Francisco, June 20. Okay, Tesla Inc. new car factories in Texas and Berlin are, quote, losing billions of dollars as they struggle to increase production because of a shortage of batteries and China port issues. Chief executive Elon Musk said recently he's not chief executive. He's the techno king of Tesla. Anyways, here's the quote. Both Berlin and Austin factories are gigantic money furnaces right now, okay? It's really like a giant roaring sound, which is the sound of money on fire, Musk said in the interview with Tesla owner Silicon Valley. Okay, so what Elon was talking about, even this takes everything out of context. What Elon's saying is these 2 new factories have just been built. And because they're built and they're ramping, technically, on paper, they're viewed as losing money. They're essentially not profitable factories yet because you need a certain amount of vehicles to be coming out of it before the numbers make sense, right? Hence why Zach has talked multiple times on quarterly earnings that as these factories ramp up, you'll see margins come down a little bit to account for this, right? It's natural. This is a normal thing. This is not to imply that every single quarter, every single year, the factory is losing billions and billions of dollars. No, that's a incorrect way of looking at this. What Elon is saying is we spend billions on these factories, and technically they're just a money pit. We've put out billions of dollars, and we're not doing anything with it right now, right? We're ramping up slowly, but we're not really getting the profit or the returns on that investment just yet. Hence why he's referring to it as losing or burning money. So again, Reuters just takes that completely out of context. It's such a common sense thing. It's very obvious what Elon was saying. It was just as you listen to the interview, it just makes complete sense. All he's saying is that we are not at volume production yet. That's his whole point. That is it. Now, with regards to the China and to the battery stuff, again, the 4680 battery, it's taking longer to ramp than expected, right? It's a new technology, it's a new process, everything. It's not just a new form factor, it's an entire new process that essentially takes out many, many steps and makes it a lot more efficient. However, the real challenge when it comes to this is how do we get into mass production? And that's what Tesla's solving. That's what they will solve. And honestly, in the interview, kind of sounded like they've solved that problem, at least from the way Elon was choosing his words. So we may be past that. Don't know. Don't quote me on that. And with regards to the China issue, all he was saying was that we also want to make sure that we can have the 2000 series batteries in case the 4680 batteries take longer, or just so that we have enough supply, right? They want as many cells as possible. They don't care if it's 4680. They don't care if it's the 2000, right? They don't care. They just want to be able to produce vehicles. And so the problem is some of the tooling needed for that to set up Giga Austin to be able to use the other batteries, that tooling is stuck in Shanghai, is stuck in China, and they can't ship it out because of the lockdowns, right? So that's all he's saying, right? It's not as big of a problem as they make it out. Elon has said it. Tesla has said it. They are not battery limited at the moment. All right, right now, they're just production limited. Batteries aren't an issue. Chips aren't an issue right now. Their only limitation is the production from the factories, right? We've had China shut down. Berlin is slowly ramping. Giga Austin is slowly ramping. Fremont is going balls to the wall. So a lot of good things there, but just very poor reporting. Again, just trying to get clicks. And you would think that Reuters would have learned their lesson after the whole fiasco with regards to the email. Again, they said that Tesla is going to go through a hiring freeze, that they are going to lay off 10% of all their workforce. Elon clarified that the other day on the Bloomberg interview, again stating, no, we'll probably lay off 10% of our salaried workers, which is about 1/3 of our total workers. So really, it's about a 3% layoff, and that's essentially negligible, right? And Elon even said that in a year time from now, we will have more salary workers than we have now, and we'll have even more hourly employees. So again, context matters, nuance matters, but these reporters are awful. All they care about is getting something out there immediately. But you know what? That's fine, because luckily, as Elon even said within that part 3 interview, the best thing that we can all do is to help fight the FUD. And I'm not saying this is quite FUD, but that headline was FUD. And so that is what really kind of grinds my gears. And the whole 10% thing, that was FUD. And really, the 2 weeks down, that is FUD. So it's just on and on. Anyways, it continues to read. The club divided its interview with Musk into 3 parts, the last of which was released on Wednesday. Again, that's what this article is referring to. Musk said Tesla's Texas factory produces a tiny number of cars because of challenges in boosting production of its 4680 batteries, and as tools to make its conventional 2170 batteries are stuck in the port of China. The Shanghai COVID shutdowns in China were very, very difficult, he said. The shutdown affected car production not only at Tesla's Shanghai factory, but also at its California plant, which uses some vehicle parts made in China. All right. The past 2 years have been absolute nightmare of supply chain interruptions, one thing after another, and we're not out of it yet, Musk said. Tesla's overwhelming concern, he said, is how do we keep the factories operating so we can pay people and not go bankrupt? Again, taking things out of context here, so I'm not going to sit here and go deep into that one either. Musk said earlier this week that 10% cut in salary staff at Tesla will happen over 3 months. Look at that. Reuters actually quoting Elon correctly at this point, but it's not even a quote. But they learned this from the Bloomberg, not from the email that they supposedly saw, that only they have seen, and that they reported on, that sent everything to a frenzy. And so, so it just goes on here. Just honestly, nothing but silliness. And that's all Reuters is becoming. They're becoming a laughing stock. They're becoming a joke with all of this. So it blows my mind that of that entire interview, which you have to watch it. I can't stress this enough. It's a fascinating interview. That's what they took away. They didn't take away anything that Elon talked about with FSD. Honestly, the things he was saying about FSD Beta is just so fascinating. All right. I mean, the things he's talking about, the static versus dynamic neural nets. In other words, the vehicles that are moving have their, the neural nets that detect actual movement of objects versus objects that are being static, and how they correlate with each other. And if there's any jitter in that communication, and eventually that has to become one neural net, right? And just everything he was talking about, going away from C and C++ to a heuristic-less, a lack of heuristic, removing heuristics from the entire code base. I mean, that's the stuff that's so important. And then the metrics and the numbers, and the fact that Elon literally said on this call or on this interview that when Tesla solves this, that it's going to be 5+ years before anybody else is even close to solving FSD Beta. And to quote Elon, he said, it can seem like you are so close. Like he said, to get close to solving the problem is really easy. To solving the actual problem is very difficult. The hardest software challenge he has ever seen or experienced, but that he is still confident by the end of this year, they're still tracking towards getting 0 interventions or having an intervention within city navigation from one destination to another being very, very rare. All right. So I think FSD Beta was the big story of this interview. I thought it was a fascinating interview. They asked great questions regarding FSD Beta. And to hear Elon talk about FSD Beta the way he did was just refreshing, right? I mean, he even talked about his experience, how he, the speed setting. I mean, just watch it. It's worth your time. Put it on the background while you're doing dishes, while you're folding laundry, whatever you're doing. It's definitely worth it. All right. I could go on. I can talk forever. It's probably why I have a YouTube channel, because I can talk, and I appreciate all of you watching. But I do have to edit this and get it out there before I go to this Game 4 of the Lightning. So hopefully we win. We're down 1-2, right? Yeah, 1-2. So we need to win this one. This is going to be a big game for us. So watch the game if you like hockey. Maybe you'll see me. I'll be in one of the lower boxes, so I'll be, walking around, so maybe you'll see me. And wish us luck, because we need it. We got a fierce competitor out there, and if we don't win this game, might not be looking good for us. So again, send us all the luck you can. And with that said, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell. I love you all. Stay safe out there. Watch that interview. Peace.